ngata zamni yong se nurkale jagai jojiu juna heritage under threat from disaster and conflicts preparedness and learning from 60 year of ICOMOS juste inokhalale tenete wa dus te diring Shesrig tsospata Himalaya region gudzin tsospa nis ke zungde tang tata tra singolros ki rochted nangje diring e digrimbo I choskor campaign nga gozuk zadinle tene diring e ngaje degree me joji juna ladak sena noskal suntok tang mouse pe thablam
diring ika botkan sangma tene denbe ngata Shesrig nang rigjung nang skadig nang delte chakles zatkan sangma ika boteyo sonspa tene ka chospele ngi tapik sik jus tangna tene inazu ngata chilza jipe sespa chopgyat po tene jamling gangpena ngata norkale jaksia zadano inang tene ta ses chopgyare jaga tene sospa sose ona tene degree myot kyak sonspa jang tene mi sangma zoma miruk jus tenang tene ngaje diring dun suste chiajuna tene inna scouts peka ngata chamchik ina ngata norkal nang delte tene chakle zatkan yotna yotkan changma tene ngata zomgo shespo denbe ma khakchan jigrap chiajuna tene ta daksanga ta butkan ne lowne na chiskot nang skot sar innang ta yongches tene tusena tene ngata changma zom te ngati ladak se rigjung chukpo Shesrig chukpo skadik chukpo ngati norkal chukpo kazuga ngata changme skop se boren juskan beka tene diring dodling skot chedinok teo nang nyampo tene diringi ka ngata presentation yamana sungcha dunang tena sokspa ngata jishngek daksa ladak sena denbe ngata I rigjung sungsko bepia ya norkal sungsko bepia chakle zadene yot kongune tene rangrang e chizat zadat ya daksa tupa chizat pintes ko la chatchezinok songpa nurile na ngaja startup song ta Shesrig zana rigjung skadik ngata norkal jona nyampo nam inang tene ngata serka chatchesik toksik gyurdu kalale iu dua miruk iu charuk awo charuk ta I mana noskial le dukte zogzera zogla ngata serka chatches tokskyang skyotuk inang tene diring aje teo juspin ngata serka mana mishat tene diring ngata ika changma zom tenang diring chupa ngata changme chizatok ta yongches jane tusena ngata changma zomte ngata chizariano tebeka jalta salchezin songpa tene gome tene ngata presentation bungi board duk songpa jang nge daksa Himalayan Cultural Heritage Foundation rigjung gudzin khang juste tene daksa lo ngi shik na phala ngata chakles ladak la ja dene skyotein songpa jang te tu zune na tene ta iu tsokpa chenmek mania le chedena iu man ngarang nang tene ta iu mangche tene ngata ta jijo one man army ze nang dikche jinok songpa jang iu tsokpa chuinji gi no injespo innang tene chakles mangyungrik ladak sena jat nyan teo ngara ma sodechan sorara songpa jang chiejuna ngata ta inazu ta chame ta Shesrig nyamsene charuk rigjung nyamsene charuk skadik nyamsene charuk jute jalta ta japtang mola no ba inang tene denbe chakle zatkan bumas konmo meneskora midu galale songpa jang tene ta daksa chukpala tene ngara sokspe chorna sokspa gyute tene kadugrik lazik ladaksena chonyan juskan bungema durdu sena ina ngata light nga tuksina ngeja ika zigra pulan samara tene I Himalayan Cultural Heritage Foundation bo koma khurang ngata chilo ngistor guina gozuk jate in pin tesang la ngata ika namgyal institute jenji ngata sto ka gya pole ngata yang gere sokspa ji gyot pin songpa tena nga la soches skap mang pothop songpa tena yochana tene ladak kangme ngata chamsik rigjung nang ngata tene chamsik norkal yot nang teo changma ngata thojo je skap sik sop songpa teo daksa intege publish jate ngata debji gyoten halale songpa tang teo changma chua dul chana tene denbe nazuk ma skyomo du pinale ngata ta chotte nin mane mantang in nang kaduk sigin nang ma nazuk skyomena yot pasang tene ta te changma chapik singata jigsos pul gozo sungskop jat gozo tenang kapjan bo mimangla hagospel gozo yukan boka tenengi sokspa chilo chiktong ni tong guina suksein pin tene phala tene chakles mangyung rik zatkan bo ni dafsangi ja junin yale songpata ina changmejang kapjan jichik ngata tene heritage conservation jono phalale songpasang tena tene denbe ngata las mangpek jo ten pin tena las mangpek ngata ta sode denbe sode janes perachi sorara goma josana ngata khaspa sangma philok na kyong sa pinyale namji karu ngata tenang nang ta daksa namje phogyur nang delte denbe ngata gonpa sangmena ma jikspa mangpek levene nok ngata dene labri indo thangka indo te sangma ngata ta thokna chu yong che nang chu shal che nang te jok mamang po lep duale song padang te changma ngata ta te funskop zache nang te una jikso kulche de pia tene chagle last dikchwe na yong spin inang goma tene ngata ngana jus kan tokla khaspa changma ngata kerala na kyo pin delhi ne kyo pin pilok nes kyang kyong go za pin song pate ga tene ngong sang mamang po go du pin ale che de na khong te kharcha changma pin go te ta inang daksa yang sode jan inspirative nokta daksa ngata na ladak la khaspa jukste yo pasang tene ngata pilok na kong thong ma go ta yang ngajao nang las ma lamo charu gyale song pa nuri lione kong pura team yo teno song pa tang tene kong karo chi chagle yo nang kong za sal pasang tene ngata changme pia teo ma yang ladak pa changme pia ma sode jan jikskyo
il do chilling alwain chilling valley na koin isuk do de me it was one of the best rock art site that I've seen. Pura ka pura chilling valley described because you can see a pack of chilo snow leopard shat दो parents के साथ बहुत सारे बच्चे के साथ and then at the bottom is the most signature जो तो काउंट ये draw चुस्तें दोबारा कि as if कि एक artist का signature है so इस डाल दे में गए पूरा chilling valley one of the best पूरा लद्दाख से rock art one of the best rock art you opinion तो ना चला young rock art site you संगम में धुन लाइन दक्षिण में rock art पो ना पता में नम sui as Justin maybe 1,000 years old maybe 2,000 years old I don't know but यो पका signature यो chest page just ते उकने अंदाज एक तंग यं चीज़ दो की सामशिक इन पाइन दो नहीं समय ना शायद कम से कम lost on चिकता minimum इन दो इन्ना उसका young rock art site चिक यू संगम में दो लाइन ई rock art site पोस्टाने में मतलब one of इकने ई rock art site पे कने तन तन डेट चुंग यं चीज़ यो की ई काट तो से नो चीज़ ने ई rock art for example ika section nakpus kustin taki it is more visible kane symbol chunji du ka khatta ngata kushan period symbol so straight away we can estimate date around 2,000 years old so tena chola rokat super ngalo nishur sa thaljik song so I am celebrating 25 years of rock art into the rock art ika daksa north and this to expert in rock art chang expert option man lekin nga long issues sa thal song rock art chalin now so we have got now thousands and thousands of rock art throughout Ladakh. Let's change the topic. This is one of the newest road this leads to Zanskar. So amigos Ladakh Zanskar सुखते शायद 2000 साल तो कम से कम Zanskar हिस्ट्री गत क्या so तार लोचिक निशिसों इस road चिक दुब Zanskar पिया so it was much awaited road for the Zanskar people and from all other perspectives चाहे वो defense ने इंडो या स्कोरियांस पे पिया इंडो सुसंग इंडो so ऐसा ही road more or less is being done almost all over Ladakh. लेकिन सर्कस पे आते हो दुख again coming to the point il do site po which was one of the best one il road appear sacrifice so il do da sa chang lustumet then now so my point is ka khasan ta samba sang matlab road khasan no rock art khasan of course so answer is quite obvious. Then now is though you 100% Kushan period influence in pin it's also does kaka Kushan symbol of Ladakh like is something man metin karib samatsar you answer lekin you zampaji pyasar so this is now lost. So tenna solang ata pura Ladakh gang pe na Kushan ne influence demba symbol jig ya demba staksik manyone tarmi shet salna ekadu thobin lekin you chongsan khaksan ji jinbin you bridge pe store again the equation is ka khasan from people's point of view is an natam mimang sana culture tradition heritage to samangati people's point of view no tel protection चाहे कंजर्वेशन करो प्रिजर्वेशन हो कुछ भी करो एंड देन प्रॉफिट फ्रॉम इकोनॉमिकल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू ते संगmal डेमो चुस्ते बैलेंस जोंगे ना दुलगेन चुस्तो लेकिन स्विच unless and until institutionalizing machana exam ji chupa changin chismir sumasam ker sarkar के अलावा तो जो मान की माने चांग में जो दिन सुपा माने लदास ला मकम जगह युत का मालिक लदास ला रोकाट दक्षा कारू थोबा नक्संग इंगिजाने त्यो टीना कारू थोबा मानक जना त्यो लाच छ मकम जगह युत कारू थोमेत दक्षंग 2025 ना ले इन्ना लेना रोकाट साइट सोमायंग Smart to top side. Some latest go in Jama Shangala, young side TikTok, Changa, Chishi Changa Nigan Suji Yudam. This on Jakating la Tuglato. This on Jakating la Calceto. Some searches miracle. Lekin, not on some common platform, Jika, young state, common denominator, in a Kona, then a pura heritage. Conservation zena protection zena initiatives zena way forward zena chi samachyo nyanches do lekin te upya equation bo balance borgos ta equation and
zogla tene da diring ka soxpe chijik choz kan te shod malara tene tel tine ngata kazukshia ngata nchesane tuspina ngata kazukshia Chicho was the committee, some Jargon about some border that is in Mula. There's of some ye, some Sangala, Maras College, Junanga, in as with civil engineers in Teninga, retired on the low Trukchison. Teninga, Margot saying and May at civil engineers in Chesapeake, Tenang Pong and Mara Chundan in Tanka now to Nanga interest, Pentes of La Tanka, Jantes Nates of La. Interest son passant, tenenga heritage as we know, marchante, tenenga as a push, scarce the Ozan. There is civil engineering, Tukis and compare sixes, that in a lamb janches, sergeants, Samain of then on compare sixes and tenengata, Ladas and a Kampaku shares here, Javarina Kampakazu shares, Major College in a Kashi compare sixes lavat. Tebrinata, Tachinam, Catper, non project nata Tonduel. Son par Ladar Senar, Sixo, Nang, Chalar, Nanti, Samakonan, Sosoyotano. Teo son passangata, Teningi, Coran d'autres sur Ladar, c'est Sixo, Nangata, Coran Borte, Tenayangata, Darsetus, Nangyam Potunches, Las, Nang, Campari, Tezucho, Nyanches, Dugal, Tezukiangi, Sambatans. Teo son passant, Tezu, Teninga, Heritage, Tenengata, Gumpa Karna, Tenekarna, Teninga, Tompa Mampena, Tene, Ta Mampete, Moldupa, Icampa is a 60, is a Gubosha, Azugosha, Renateo, Midgal, Tetos Azugina, Mampo, Tomum Sonia. Teo son passant, Tene, Tingignetene, Ica, Intake. Ladakh chapters in Jinang Nala intake Ladakh chapters in Ladakh Sena, you take me duel. There is some Patasa, Monishimola, Manjiga, Romi Kozla, Skute, Kong Nangyampo lay town, Azuchik, survey that to Pinel. They Mungar Geta Gupek Sintaning at Tongue, Kong, the survey, Ishan Sama tap to Pinel. Then is soon of the person you intakes that can be knows you. Teo son passant test in a Chilochixton, Aniston, Struina, intake Ladakh chapter week, Suxtoel. Tetsugachina, Tenanga, member Lale. Teo Sanchinan, the Konangyam Portel, but an intake and the intake in a Caspa Mampoyotan conservation and Tezuinale heritage. Teo son passant cook and Chiton Lobscan by speeches that in a Ladakh Sena, intake Ladakh chapter Niston Stunia on last bunch of Chosiale.
Tene didingi ijak peka nga book release choche CPS kap searches la heritage now Shesrig niskala hing tapane thuje che tampo tani e-book pokoran traditional ladaki kitchen ekayot focus pokoran chance kayo diale tene tv nangata chance na chi yonga tene ngata 30 plus utensils iskola disto diale nga feel lega tukan tene 30 plus ngata donta iskola disto with ingredients halal tene chan tas tekina chan sa tak sangata es role chik play jo senses do paya te zane chan sa ngata donta antena school tenses do tene guest antena na receive jo tenses do tene ngata ala cho santa le ka duk tene ka za tenses do tena tosla tene yang tang asa bedroom so sham duk te zane chan se na chi chama jo tenses do pala chan sa ma te zane important role ji play jo tenses do yale tene last ka yang contribution su yo na ning tapane tuzi chi zer se la yale tuzi chi
Shesrig tsokpa o ketana kazu chiga gozu tsonge gomate veskola tapik juen samara. Teve sang 2017 ni na khete ni Shesrig Ladakh zenjang ni tsokpa o tsukspin in private organization tsokshiga ne gome gozu private organization tsokshiga song tene tesang hanla khitena na 2012 ne phada ngari masters conservation in silte yongs the heritage management puchus de nga laras la loks de yongs de nga tsospa mangpu jinga po last year se scaps thop tenang ngata Himalayan Cultural Heritage Foundation nge changme sangoma tsospa in ka un ngam nga internship chu se scap shik thop tene HCHF ngam po last year jang tene yang chigal pa tsospa mangpu jinga po nga khong introduce chos tene kavena ngata Czech Republic ne organization rikupin ka uni wall painting conservation ka chagla za dupin tena choksla ngata art conservation solutions in jang ngata yang gagare organization digot khong yam pu nga karukma la khang saka intage khong chagla chos no tena as a consultant ngata art conservation solutions in jang chokspe gyot khong yam pu nga last year kapsu tena choksla ngata sunda chuni ngata 13th century wall painting site you know chote ninga ko kagan chote jingang ko wall painting yot degrees tingang ko kitena ngai jigsaw village chuspin takriban dajik sunda chunla tukste tena choksla tene yang chospa mangpo jinga po last year kapsu binja yu gyusung 상매상 problem 전부 직직 당하다 때 타임이가 지르핀즈나 기 라닥스라 치갈레 촉스파인도 갸가레 촉스파인도 망포 용스 차글라자도 야레 투스피카 차글라자 때랑 때팅네 공부스 스토가라 따테랑 테네 라닥스파 나타 이 필드나 요칸오네 페아테오 이슈지 투핀 기 야르라타라 식 망용지 톱도 테네 urgun bachi chen deskanbo tene teo chachi kono ranga junga chi kono tene nge ngara iu samje shilonski ngagong ra chokspaji ladakspaji chokspaji pena kau ina ka gyagar pagune ka las pujus te chat kau chigal pagune las pujus te chat teno ngata ladaksla chungya teno pa samkanjik yonga chi kono tene I chokspa o Shesrig Ladakh zenjang 2017 ena tena nge gozuk chospinle I nangbo nijagun daksa ina yuxeno I nangbo ketena kampa ngata akonjuma juanogala daksa choskor kong ketena choskor jiduk jazena kong inta muslim family no inang ikane kong azuga yurtung achilo horze shit chachi kono kong aga choskor gompe dunla kone kampa yuches bejaste konla changme choskor zete ming phoksok zugalale songpa teni choskor campaign nga tang daksa ika dukseno nga Ladakh Art and Media Organization ya po 2017 na khong el debris ka la shikyo na yupin te zane nga I kampao goma thonga chikpo nang changme sang goma ten na itu yong nga ngara chi to shichongin yupin halate I kampao ma demek duk samkan jik tokshik I samba yong chikpo na khong akon jume family nga po thukpin thuga chikpo nang tene khong no thikrak chazana ta khong family dispute ji duk chi to ipasa I first floor bukitena kung lize ka tain zirkan bu kung juarga tene tikrak mane tena kung chizer na ole zirin jang mane ta tezani chuna ngai nokse tik josh na ipin ekdam tikrak rupena ngai kampao nen tenang tene ina restoration elas nga ngai cousin miski wajita ngai miski last to just start just chang idea me teno kazi restore jochen kazi chi jochen bas ina rapin ki kampao chong shil demek du bu kanjik and ngai fiatu changme sang yang spira chenme gotu ngata wall painting ngata debris unikala chola chakla chi jo ngata site tika chago sano in ngata debris chiko mante ngata yang artifacts mongpo jigot ka kau khetena ngata khungste te jiksop chunga na nok zikan mo te fe te ngata conservation studio jik chun jik te na zirkan sum pasang tene ngai ote I Shesrig ponga te shika establish sa kanal
Still looked, Leh, at least the town of Leh, still looked very much like the image on the left. Over the last, I think, over 3 decades, now close to 4 decades, we've seen a lot of change in Leh, and we all know that. We've seen buildings being demolished, we've seen roads being built, we've seen people change, and yes, that is the way forward. I don't say that we need to keep Ladakh as a museum, but I think along the way, we also need to understand what do we demolish and why. You know, for instance, if a road is being built or a bridge is being built, as Tashida was pointing out, instead of demolishing the rock art, can't we just move it a little bit, maybe downstream, and keep the rock art when we're demolishing a building? Can't we also think that maybe we can reuse a building instead of demolishing it? So I think these are the kind of questions we want to ask when we talk about change in the region. In 1987, Romy Khosla and Intac did a documentation of all the heritage structures in Leh town, right from Ganglis down to Skara and all that. I don't know what's left of those places. I mean, I'm sure if we went today and actually did a physical documentation of all that Romy Khosla documented, we might find that at least 50% of it no longer exists. And I think that's very sad because if you look at Ladakh as a region, it was only opened up in 1947. You know, this sort of rapid change and development has only started coming in the last 15 years, 15, 20 years, let's say. But in that short span of time, you've probably lost more than 50% of your, at least your tangible heritage. And I think that's something that, you know, we should talk about and we should question and we should make people accountable for that. So one of the reasons we started LAMO is, you know, obviously I've been coming here for so many years and I've been seeing in the last sort of like ever since 1999, 2000, a lot of buildings being demolished. I'd also worked with Intac in Bombay. And when I was questioning some of this here, a Ladakhi friend told me, well, why don't you do something about it? Why don't you, if you talk so much, why don't you yourself do something about it? And I was like, okay, maybe. And I was introduced to John Harrison, who was the conservation architect, and I was introduced to Dr. Munshi. And Dr. Munshi was very keen that his house be restored. And his only condition was that if you start the restoration, you have to finish it. And it was the first time, I think, kind of like a lease agreement was probably drawn up here. And it was for the first time also in the archives office that a house in Leh town was sort of demarcated. And then we were able to, we took like almost 4 to 5 years to restore the building. And we went, I mean, you can see before and after here. But I think it was also to show what you can do with the building, how you can reuse a building. Because I think till about 2000 or other restoration projects in Ladakh focused on monasteries or palaces or buildings that were, you know, like majestic and big and beautiful. And nobody had really focused on smaller buildings, on vernacular architecture. And it's really, for me at least personally, it's really good to see other spaces like this one being used in Whole Town, or Sanamwangchuk in Lonpo House, or the Spindle Studio, or so much of Old Town being used. I think it's a really a very big way forward. And it's really all through personal initiatives. It's not through any government initiatives. And I think that is another sort of very commendable thing. When we did open LAMO in 2010, one of the first projects we started off with was the neighborhood project. It was supported by the Tata Trusts, and it was basically because we decided we wanted to get to know our neighbors, we wanted to get to know where we were located, we modeled this project a little bit on the neighborhood project that was also held in the Nizamuddin Basti in Delhi. So we modeled it a little bit on that. And we looked at everything. We looked at, who lived in Old Town, how old were the buildings in Old Town. We started collecting early photographs of Old Town. We started mapping the region with residents in Old Town. We started looking at how water came into Old Town.
Hayal for about 2 years. But right now we are working with Achi Association for a lot of conservation projects and as well as private clients. So what I'm going to share is 2022 we completed a conservation project which is the Pale House. First we'll see the video and then again proceed.
Heritage Day, the World Heritage Day, 18 April, I know. Marte Sangala phone is a chess ponging Tapani Tujeche. The next speaker, some Juk State, Nangit Sama Tujeche Juchezin. Dr. Sonama Chukle, Professor Rashida Wale, Dr. Monisha Ahmad Le, Wangel Siring Le, Madam Jigmed Wangmole Nam, then Miss Feza Khan Lenam, Dr. Nur Jahan Le, Sama Tujeche Juchezin. Espera mangpek majua, espera sumji jikanya samara kinga tang la daspat sangma. Mane positive message po ning takpan tuje che juje sin ni looking forward with a positive message alal. Jibe zena positive message po kat samjik song sa tunga ngana jodnin rak dering ni ja sangme contribution bo la da transform religion yarias lansos less contribution bo tani yongche chane time na ngajara chi migjirin ni ja sama kazo tusiana nalal. Daksa nije zik sa ka suna mangchugle samji chakla zat teo tewe chakla se gyunsan bo ata daksa stupa na ngata mane manta na samji last chosto diring ngata samji ngata last dollar na ata te last same gyunsan ka daksa ngaje charji chosto no ngata lak sum pancha rere atangches karor sumji charu galale to choste nang jibe zona khone thukje katine ka mi sangma tenno spero lespa te sangma ngata konang ma dotpa yongspa testing ne miuna juruk penta mane mantaun jolen charuk ija sangme chi chuat zerpa ye kal sunamang chukle khone lamstante balanjas yang ngata nyemo ne pura group ino khona ngata hung group jame dale izam mang ko chala zata ngata saspol ne charna samji ngata basgo ne charna samji chalas gyal la zate minu te same khat pe ka ngaji charji u chosto dalale conservation and preservation of heritage sites in lay samji ngata mane mantang yo te sama gen la kerche logic longi se na ko gurja asli na yonches manok maga te ka ngatang semba chaks te ya te juk mane majuk sa gen la chana nge samara mian chik mane minu galale te pya ngata daksa samji ngaje penetan lak sum bo ngaje institutes gyut te tano te yang hung group indo yang ngaje mangpo te juat ki ata x-men sospa una khona salna ma demo charuk ji bedana khon mane yul golena chichoks pena ngata Shesrig shunskop choches te가 chakla choches puma mangpo zato gala ngara chokna juain sonamle na hung group na ngija changmala ki ngata x-men una chuchi aware chona te unma demo chakala tene ngija zik sajat ki Nur Jahan le se chamri chala zat te otto te ve khat pochi lepste no zena daksa ngira aje jime dongmule daksa agency se ngata chiga presentation salte no te ko ne awareness choste ngala chamji awareness chos te changma awareness ban chiga leps pane palla tene ngaje charji choste conservation and preservation of ngata archival records samji yo te agency na MOU choste nen penala tene chok chiksi chi ga ino ngata nur le ka ngata pura ngata thangkanang preservation chot yang chok chik peka ngaje matwa chaklas dulat pen ngata madam le mama po khon chu chuk chi chot pen khone lo singa tukman lo chu matho museum ka thangka changma jolkan tene yang skunda jolkan te changme ka chaklas chuen jikte changma choche zala dang khon tene france ne justo pen neli le lo sesko khon inna juge yang pangste borpa tene pangste miju magar tu chigyang gap luspa khon agane ko bar leb nyana me galale leb mayan pa tene ngaja top song ki group chikchos te chakla chona zet pa ka sonamang chuklen kone chakla za tene group chikchos te chakla chon zet pa group be ka ko mama ko yang pene thoknes kala sangal charu galale te ga tene archival records nga de MOU chos te khongun samji go inayot pa da sangi samarak menam jingme dongmen lang tukusino samji sal khone te ko mane chi sama lamo charu galale tanga je kon dijak chiga kalskiya Patna kalskiya Delhi kalskiya ni te phe just ten chi pe jana I changma ko kule ko government e charji jina chut na chi sa chule yong che kana time na lo sho chunga ni shu lu che no tak sang je zik sa jat archival records na